In our last module, we found that pain, or the fear of pain, is the it factor that creates an internal loop of opposition, causing mental paralysis or emotional paranoia, leaving us feeling as though it is out to get us, has us believing it must be avoided, which keeps us forever analyzing the reason for it to be here, consistently asking ourselves, why can't I find it, stop it, or let it go? Today, we're going to explore and review where this began in the pain makes us weak story, and why the physical experience of pain is more often accepted or even praised, while the other versions, emotional, mental, spiritual pain, are shunned.
It all stems from the fact that in general, humans are wired to help. When someone is physically hurt, we hurt. If the pain is physical, however, we can deduce where and how to help relieve it. But when someone is emotionally, mentally, or spiritually hurt, we also hurt. However, we can't see what to heal. And this inadequacy causes us to feel insecure in our own inability to help. And we get annoyed with our own perceived weakness. Historically, and even currently, we project this feeling of inadequacy upon those experiencing the actual emotional pain, and we suggest to them that they stuff it down because they look weak, when really we're feeling weak because we can't help. Our inadequate feeling is so strong that we have set societal rules to help prevent experiences of feeling weak from our own inability to help with another's insecure feelings of helplessness. It's pretty crazy, really. Our conscious mind resists pain. We are terrified of pain because it hurts, it's uncomfortable, and it's embarrassing. I mean, strange things happen to our body and it freaks us out. Our shoulders hunch, our chest constricts, our bones break, our insides bleed, our eyes leak, our mouths drool, our voices scream, and our bodies shake. The thing is, feeling is not weak or uncomfortable. We are weak and uncomfortable in our unwilling ability to feel.
Pain equals strength. Remember that bone is stronger after a break and muscles are made bigger after a tear. And just like that, feelings are more fleeting the more they are allowed. Now here's what I mean. Think of the term happiness is fleeting, or time flies when you're having fun. These are true because both our subconscious and our conscious mind are never bothered when we feel good. We like feeling good. However, what our conscious mind doesn't understand is that all feelings, whether physical or emotional, can come and go just as quickly as happiness, and therefore it doesn't want us to experience it.
However, if we mastered feeling our emotional experiences, they'd last around 5 to 10 minutes each on average, and most likely even less. Our body would simply get bored of the experience and move on to the next emotion. If this is true, then why does pain keep getting triggered, especially past pain? Because just like physical pain, it is guaranteed to come until it has been fully expressed. Now, there is a laboring to physical pain. First, there's a traumatic physical pain. After that, there's a rush of adrenaline, a dose to the body, which triggers a reflex to attack anyone who comes close in order to protect the wound. After that, then there's like a numbing feeling, right? A shock where we kind of coil or retreat. We're not really sure, but can't really feel it quite yet. Then all of a sudden, there's these waves of throbbing pain, and we realize we need help, and we're either going to accept it or we're going to push through it. Now, these waves are intense, but the intensity begins to decrease while the intervals of passing time increase. What I mean by this is, let's take, for example, that you get a gash on your leg. Now, there might be 10 minutes of intense pain, but then after that, there's about 1 minute of temporary relief. And then 9 minutes of intense pain and 2 minutes of temporary relief. Then 8 minutes of intense pain and 3 minutes of relief, and so on down the line until the pain has been fully released and the adrenaline completely depleted. After that, a scab ensues and the wound either heals or it becomes scar tissue. Just like actual labor. Women know this very well. It actually works in perfect balance. Now, because we have studied physical pain, we see and accept the process of something fixed, and we call it hurt, and we can help each other through it. Well, guess what? There is also a labor of emotional pain. It also comes in waves, and it's also fixed, and we can call it hurt. Again, it's the same thing. We experience a traumatic emotional pain, like somebody breaks up with us or maybe somebody dies. Adrenaline releases and it triggers the ego, and the ego fights to protect the wound. Then there are numbing thoughts of reason and blame in order to avoid the pain. And the pain begins to throb. It begins to come and go in waves over time. That's why they say time heals all wounds. We might get this like big push through this emotional pain where these memories come up and we have to like really work through them, and then all of a sudden there's a bit of a lull. So most times the help that we reach for, it's really not help, it's a friend who's willing to feed you like an alternative emotion in order to cope. Like calling somebody a jerk instead of actually walking you through your pain of what happened. And this intensity, again, it decreases as the relief intervals increase. So the various emotions, they come in waves, and we avoid the hurt slowly. And the rage and the anger and the sadness and the spite and the depression and the heartbreak and the tears start to kind of take up those spaces of those intervals. So no matter what type of pain, hurt is hurt, and our body responds with the same strange reaction, right? So even if we have an emotional or pain, we also get a lack of breath, we get the tightening in the chest, we start curling into a ball, we feel like our heart is being crushed, and our tears are streaming, and again our mouths are drooling, our voices are screaming, and our body is shaking. And if we're allowed to feel throughout our day, we would see that this pain also comes in perfect balance. So both physical and emotional pain, they have a circumstance. And from there, we end up creating a meaning or a story. We back it with reason and excuses, which we then turn into beliefs, which create blocks, and eventually they result in dis-ease, which can actually cause disease. The biggest difference is that if we see somebody physically hurt, we typically can remain calm and remind them to breathe. However, if someone is expressing emotional pain, again, we become frustrated with our own inability to calm them, and we tell them to quit crying, calm down, stop being sensitive or so dramatic. If we could actually accept that it hurts and then provide support, remind them to breathe, allow the waves to come and go, and trust the process, then we could stop looking for a quick fix and actually bring the pain to light and lighten the pain. Instead of doing this, sometimes we start looking for a quick fix. Instead of lightening the actual pain, we actually go, hey, let's bring on the light. So we ingest brighter knowledge to lighten the load. We start thinking of mind over matter. We start thinking of change your thoughts, change your mind. But this only works to a certain point, and this can take years of therapy, hours of studying, and peeling tons of layers of our stinky onion and trying to see what sticks in the process until we finally have what we want, do all that we like, and be all that we are. This can leave us feeling as though we are measuring up in some areas of our life, yet also always feeling like an imposter in others. Mindset techniques like mind over matter are a great start, but they can cause additional blocks or magnify current issues or even leave us feeling re-traumatized, especially if we are practicing what's called spiritual bypassing. In the next lesson, we will look further into this spiritual bypassing and what the mind and body need